Today on the podcast, we were talking about how Google is allegedly paying some of its employees to do nothing. Yes, that's right. Instead of going and working for competitors, they're actually paying them to just do nothing. I'm not exactly sure why that is. We're going to get deep into that. But before we do, I wanted to quick tell you about our AI Hustle School community. If you've not heard of it yet, it is an amazing place. We have over 340 members, all who are interested in making money online using AI. We have a lot of different categories we talk about using AI in your marketing your business and growing businesses, AI consultant businesses, and also like the Amazon Influencer Program, where I personally made $25,000 last year. There's lots of ways out there to actually make money online. You don't have to be a huge corporation to do so. So check that out. It's $19 a month, and if you join now, you lock that price in forever. So, but Jaden, why don't you tell us more about Google?
Okay, so yeah, the funny thing here, like we mentioned, is that they are allegedly paying some of their AI staff to do absolutely nothing for a year rather than going and joining any other AI companies. For anyone familiar with the TV show Silicon Valley, this will be very not unsurprising. It's kind of funny though, because in the TV show, there's Hulu, the big company, who's essentially Google. They just call it Hulu. And that's literally what they did. In order to have your shares in the company vest, a lot of times when they would like acquire a company, they would get the whole founding team. They don't want them to work on anything else. They don't want them to go work for a competitor. So in order to have their shares vest, they have to keep working at the company for like 1 to 4 years, just depending on the deal. And they literally give them no projects. They're like, we don't really need you. We just bought your company, but we definitely don't want you working for any competitors. So there's kind of this joke where all of them go and they have a club on the rooftop of Hulu. They all have these like lawn chairs and they have barbecues and they just hang out all day, and then they go home and they come to the office every day. But like there's nowhere for them to work and nothing for them to do. So they just hang out and they call it rest and vest. So they're just sitting on top. Anyways, it's kind of funny, right, in the TV show, but it's literally happening allegedly over at Google in this AI race. And I think it just kind of illustrates how competitive these players are in AI. I don't know, Jamie, coming from someone that is not in a tech background, I would love to get your take on this concept.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of blows my mind, to be honest, because first of all, why would you do that? Google, I think, probably has some really talented people on their staff, and they have some, I would say, unique products that are somewhat different from OpenAI. A lot of other companies will just straight up copy that OpenAI and try to come out with their own version. But Google has, I would say, some unique ones, anywhere from like Notebook LM to some of their plugins with Google Docs and stuff now. So, there's some talented people over there, and apparently they just don't want them to go work at OpenAI. Is that what the main concept is here?
So yeah, pretty much. And to be honest, like I'll bring up like where a lot of this came from. So Nando de Freitas is the VP over at Microsoft AI. So he's the vice president over at Microsoft AI. And he tweeted about this. And I guess to give you guys a little bit of context and background on this. So essentially what this relates to is Google's DeepMind division, which for those that know, Google acquired DeepMind. It was a London-based AI startup. People are saying they're using really aggressive non-compete agreements. And this is only for staff in the UK, right? So in the United States, most of these, I think the FTC banned most non-competes agreements last year. TechCrunch wrote a whole article on this April 25th, 2024, saying the FTC's ban on non-compete clauses could be good for startups, but it also might be struck down, whatever. It never actually got struck down. So it seems like this is pretty codified and it's pretty solidified. So in America, there are no non-competes. If you work at a company, you can go work at another company. You could start your own company. You could just do whatever. There's no non-competes. This is, a lot of people are really excited and a lot of startups are really happy about this because it makes it a lot easier to go and get talent from big companies like Google and Microsoft. You give them equity and they can actually help you build an amazing AI startup. So this is really important for the ecosystem. This is not international, specifically London. And Google has, of course, their headquarters of Google DeepMind over in London. So this is essentially kind of the background on this and where it's at internationally. So how we got this information, though, was that over at Microsoft, the VP of Microsoft AI said in a tweet, he said, "Dear Google DeepMinders, first, congrats on the new impressive models. Every week, one of you reaches out to me in despair to ask me how to escape your notice periods and non-competes. Also, asking me for a job because your manager has explained this is the way to get promoted, but I digress. Please don't reach out to me. Reach out to each other. Your leads are responsible for this. Talk to them. He tags them. Have both said that they're against it, so maybe start there. Above all, don't sign these contracts. No American corporation should have that much power, especially in Europe. It's abuse of power, which does not justify any end. Okay, so he's obviously upset about it, but he's also kind of upset about it because, like, let's be honest, he can't hire any of these talented people from his competitor. But yeah, it's very interesting, and it's interesting that it's kind of over in Europe that does have a lot more regulations. That this is the issue when it seems like kind of anti-competitive, right? It seems like, I don't know, it seems like something Europe would be against. I'm not sure, but if this is kind of the place it's originating from.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a buddy who worked for a tech company, and he was part of his, package was receiving shares of the company each year that he stayed there because it was a startup. But I think the catch was he had to stay at the company for, I think it was like 3 or 5 years
Yep.
in order to get those shares.
4-year cliff is pretty normal.
Yeah. So, that makes sense to me. And I would think, if you had a job at Google and you were getting, shares, I mean, maybe they don't do that kind of program because it's not necessarily a startup, but I don't know. I feel like there could be other ways they could go about it besides like a non-compete like that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Some people on Twitter are being like, oh, it's not enforceable in California, so you could just come here and if you really wanted to. Some people are saying, oh, no, you can't. I don't know. There's like, they could still sue you over in London. I don't know. So there's like different kind of opinions on it. I do think that, like, I would say big hats off to Nando for speaking up about this. This is a real issue. And, it's kind of shady, to be honest. I'm happy we got rid of them in the United States, and I'd hope other places get rid of them. I wanted to talk about how they're getting paid out, though, which is so interesting to me. So apparently it's pretty much like they have this non-compete. Some of them are getting paid during this time, but not everybody. Some people aren't getting paid. So they get a non-compete, they quit Google DeepMind, and they literally can't work at like an AI startup. That to me is like the worst. But a lot of them are getting paid during this. And essentially, it's just a really lengthy PTO. So they're getting paid. They're literally not doing anything. Like you mentioned with your friend who had the 4-year vesting period, very common to have your shares vest over this amount of time. But yeah, these people are literally just getting a really long PTO and they're getting paid. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, cry me a river. You're getting an entire year paid and you can't work anywhere. Like, whatever. That sounds fantastic. And also, like, let's be honest, these AI researcher salaries can be incredibly high. We're talking anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 a year with, stock options and stuff. So like, it's a lot of money and hard to always feel bad about people in this situation. But at the same time, I mean, this is their career. They do want to do other things. So it kind of does suck to have their hands tied by this. In any case,
why would they not give them something to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they not make them work somehow?
Well, maybe they know they're going to leave and they don't want them to mess anything up or steal any secrets. They know they're going to leave in a year. So they're like, well, they're going to go work at Google in a year. We're just not going to let them know anything. You have a very good point, which is like, yeah, why wouldn't you? Well, okay, so here's the thing. If they do let them work, if they do let them do something, then the non-compete starts as soon as they quit, as soon as they stop working. So at one point or another, they're going to have to stop working and they're going to not get it. So if they're being generous, they might pay them for a year, but still not let them do it. At the end of the day, they should just get rid of the non-competes. It's ridiculous. That's what they should do. Anyways, craziness in the tech world. And to be honest, America wasn't that far off not too long ago. So we are getting better, and I hope other countries can make some progress there. At the end of the day, they are getting paid. A lot of them are getting paid, and they're getting paid a lot. So also it's kind of hard to feel too bad for them here.
Well, anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review wherever you're listening. We really appreciate those, and we read every single one. And also be sure to check out our Skool community. Again, a great place to learn how to actually make money with AI and grow your business. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.